Hello, I am Elena Johns, Broad Street Review's editor-in-chief, and I am so excited that we are able to share some clips from our program at our 20th anniversary celebration Party with the Critics on January 15th. We are going to hear from two city council members. The first is Councilmember Nina Ahmad, as well as Councilmember Rue Landau, who presents BSR with a citation honoring our 20 years of independent arts journalism in Philadelphia. We'll also hear from our founder, Dan Rottenberg, about the history of Broad Street Review, our associate editor, Kyle V. Hiller. You hear from yours truly, and we are so excited to be able to share this snippet of our celebration with you. Thank you so much to everyone who came out, and thank you to everyone who supports Broad Street Review.
It is wonderful to be in this room with so much innovation and so many ideas. I've talked to people already around the room and already got some ideas. Ray Johnson is my policy advisor. He's here, and we've been noting down people's names and numbers to get back to them. But I just wanted to start with congratulations. Our 20 years is a long time to do anything, right? And especially in this field, in media, especially online. So major congratulations to Broad Street Review, to Neil and the team, and all of you. I started reading the pieces, and it feels very grounded. You know, it's connected to community. It takes arts and culture seriously without talking down to people. That was one of the articles I read. The first one I read today was about what's happening nationally and how that's impacting poetry and what's happening. I am the mom of a slam poet, Philadelphia born and bred, but now lives in New York. And so I said, we have a very vibrant arts and culture, come back. Stories matter, and who gets seen matter, and how culture connects community and justice really matter. So I'm an immigrant, the only immigrant serving on council at the moment, and we can't find the last immigrant who was on council. And with my colleague here, Rue Landau, we're actually looking at things to do around immigration and have some accountability in this space. However, what I wanted to say was that Philadelphia, I wanted to showcase 2026 and the role that Philadelphia has played as a sanctuary city. You know, it has come from the time of abolition. It has come from the time of free black people working with Quakers to do this. It has come from the time we have Johnson House in Germantown, which is going to be a part in the 2026 sort of neighborhood place for tourists to visit. We're looking at how we do that. I yesterday met with Visit Philly CEO, and we were talking about a project that I want to do. And the reason I'm telling you all this, you'll give me some ideas. So, as I said, I'm an immigrant from Bangladesh. And I was a child when the war happened for the liberation, which was a very bloody war. And of course, Nixon and Kissinger were supporting the genocidal military who was killing us. So this was a war of independence to take East Pakistan, which is now Bangladesh, and separate from West Pakistan, which was the seat of power, and who were oppressing us. I just put it just in short words. What happened in that time, and this is what I want to somehow showcase in this year, is there were local Quakers who connected with people from where I was living here.
All right, because while I may be the father of Broad Street Review, Neil was the godfather, and that's why I wanted him to be here. Back in 2005, I was casting around for another magazine. I had done the Welcome Ad, I had done Seven Arts magazine, I had done the Philadelphia Forum. I was still searching. I was convinced that there was a what I would call a highbrow audience in Philadelphia that wasn't being served by the local media. And I came upon the idea that I would find some university that would sponsor this magazine that I had in mind. My alma mater, the University of Pennsylvania, seemed the ideal candidate. It was they had recently created a Provost Council on Arts and Culture. They were very eager to increase their footprint in the arts. I proposed the idea to David Brownlee. He was the council's chairman, and he was very enthusiastic, but unfortunately, he was about to leave on a sabbatical. So we agreed to stay in touch. Meanwhile, I ran into Neil Kleinman, who was then the dean of the College of Media and Communications at the University of the Arts. And when I pitched Neil my idea of a local arts magazine, he replied, he said, well, the University of the Arts was about to launch a multi-channel, what he called web radio platform on the internet. And why don't I take my arts magazine idea and put it on one of their channels?
Because there's so many things that are interfering with who we want to be, right? So when I think about the pineapple pizza, right? My cover letter for the application for this job 8 years ago, which is nuts to me, because we just had a conversation last week. We're like, hey, we've been working together for 8 years. I'm like, no, it's not. It doesn't add up. It's only been 4. No, wait, no, it's 2026. 2018, 19 was that long ago. And the world has changed so much since then. And so many things are different all the time. Things move so fast, so quickly, we can't get a grip on what is actually happening. And then a pandemic happened, you know? So I think about that, and I think about where I was in 2019 when I first started here, writing this subversive cover letter that says, I don't want to talk about the merit of my writing, I want to talk about the fact that I love something like pineapple pizza that nobody else does. And one of the things that I love about the city of Philadelphia, which I have been born and raised here in West Philadelphia, I love how different and unique it is, and I think a lot of people don't understand that we are different, right? And one of the things that I love about Broad Street Review is that it is a website on the World Wide Web that still exists 20 years later. Can any of you name 5 websites that are not Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, X, whatever, Blue Sky, any of those that you still visit regularly every day? We can't, right? And I remember the first time I used the internet. It was 1994, I was about 8 years old. I was over my mom's friend's house for dinner, and she had the internet. I was like, oh my God, you've got the internet. America Online 2.0, dial-up internet. It's flabbergasted. So what I did, of course, being the 8-year-old weebo that I was, I'm gonna look up Sailor Moon, fighting evil by moonlight, by daylight, you know, all that good stuff. I still remember that website. That website is still up. And it's crazy to say that like things like Broad Street Review can still exist in a time where there's just so much volatility, so much inconsistency, which is something that I wrote about in my newsletter this morning? Wow, this morning. Thinking about how hard it is to maintain something for a long period of time and to continue to grow and cultivate interests and to be relevant in a time that is telling you so much that you aren't relevant, that you don't matter, that we don't want you to exist. And yet here we all are coming together on a Thursday night. It's cold as all get out outside, but here we are coming together talking about what's important to us. And I think that is so important in its own right. Because if we don't do that, if we don't come together in a physical space, not just parasocially, we're coming together, I think that's so important. Because if we don't do that, we don't connect, we don't communicate, we don't relate. And if we don't do those things, then we are not human anymore. We're just bots. And I don't want to be a bot. I don't know about y'all.
Is a form of respect for hardworking artists. And BSR is still publishing as others fold because we are a destination for readers who know that they can trust our writers and editors, and we're a destination for artists and presenters who know that our feedback is informed, rigorous, and again, honest. So when I get on my editorial soapbox, the writers know this, I say, criticism itself is an act of respect and engagement, regardless of whether the opinion is positive or negative or mixed, and it's usually going to be mixed. So by showing up and by thinking deeply about the work and writing about it, a good critic is saying, this work matters, and it is worth public consideration.
And we also know that however well informed, right, the critic's opinion is just an opinion. Others may think differently, and as you can see in our comment section and my inbox, we at BSR are really proud to provoke those conversations. And of course, too, this is another thing I teach, the critic's work goes beyond giving an opinion and telling readers if the work is worth their attention, their time, and their money, which obviously is really limited nowadays. That's an important role. Critics promote public dialogue, and we create an independent record of our culture over time. This is something I find a lot of people often don't think about when they're reading us day to day. Our work at BSR is now a repository of 20 years of Philadelphia's cultural life. And think of everything that spans, right? That spans the Obama years, Occupy Wall Street, the first Trump administration, Black Lives Matter, the Women's March, many other justice movements, the COVID pandemic, the great Sixers Stadium debacle, the art museum rebrand, and our current political and human rights crisis. So artists have always been on the front lines of humanity. They entertain us, they warn us, they inspire us, and they say what nobody else will, and they imagine the futures that we can build.
So if I haven't met you already, and I do know many people in the room, I can't wait to get to know you. I'm here with Lauren Rinaldi, who is my arts liaison. I'm the only council person with an arts liaison. And together we have been diving deeply into all areas of the arts in Philadelphia. My connection to the Broad Street Review is I grew up with Wendy Rosenfield. And when she got the job, she told me, you're signing up, you're getting a subscription, this is what you're doing. And I've been hooked and a fan ever since. So I've actually used reviews to decide which of two shows I'd go see. I have always been amazed at the talent of the critics and the depth in which something like Broad Street Review will go. It's amazing to me, and to come from the concept that you had, Dan, of this forum for people to talk about art and to talk about expression and politics that we are in today, to make sure that we are the ever-expanding world that we can continue to be, that we have to, like, the world without artists is pretty bleak, right? And the world without art and expression in any way is terrible, and we need it. There's no doubt at all that I have, Elena, that we need art more than ever right now. There's no doubt in my mind.
Fascists fear artists.
Right, and we certainly make beautiful puppets for any protest too, I will tell you that much. Publication dedicated to thoughtful, in-depth arts journalism at a time when very few digital outlets prioritize serious cultural coverage. For the past 20 years, it has served as a vital platform for arts criticism, reporting, and conversation across Philadelphia and the greater region. Helping to document, contextualize, and elevate the city's rich and diverse cultural life. And whereas Broad Street Review has remained steadfast in its commitment to free and accessible journalism, maintaining an open archive without a paywall, and ensuring that artists, audiences, and communities can engage with professional arts coverage regardless of income or institutional affiliation. There's not much more, I'm going to keep reading. Whereas Broad Street Review has demonstrated leadership in ethical and inclusive cultural journalism by prioritizing accessibility, disability, justice, and fair compensation for writers and cultural workers, recognizing the essential labor that sustains a healthy arts ecosystem. And whereas under the leadership of its editors, writers, and contributors, BSR has amplified voices, fostered critical discourse, and provided meaningful visibility to artists and organizations, often serving as the only professional media coverage for important cultural work in our region. And whereas Broad Street Review's 2-decade legacy reflects an enduring belief that the arts are essential to civic life, community, connection, and democracy itself, particularly in a city as creative and culturally vibrant as Philadelphia. Therefore, by virtue of this citation, the Council of the City of Philadelphia does hereby honor Broad Street Review on the occasion of its 20th anniversary, commending its extraordinary contribution to arts journalism and cultural life, and extending sincere gratitude and best wishes for continued impact and success in the years to come, signed by me and our Council President, Kenyatta Johnson.
Yeah, come over here.
You'll see this in our next newsletter, folks.